Welcome to Buffalo After Dark, everybody. It's your Wednesday night uncensored, unfiltered, and unafraid sports show. You still up? This episode of Buffalo After Dark starts now. Welcome to Buffalo After Dark, everybody. It is Wednesday night, April 19th. Of course, you've got the usual crew with you. We're here for the next hour, and we're going to jump right into some football. But first, before we do that, Bob, how's your week going?
I am good, Tom. Thank you for asking. I got the game on. They're down 1-0 at 17-14 to go in the second in Game 2 against the Carolina Hurricanes. And, of course, I'm repping for the Islanders.
There you go. And then,
well, I am the only Long Island guy on the show, so I kind of have an obligation to do that.
Right. Although, it was interesting, though. I mean, their first game up against Carolina, and Carolina took it, but it wasn't for lack of effort.
No, I mean, the thing that killed it was their power play unit, because that's what killed it. Because Carolina scored 2 power play goals, and the Islanders, special teams couldn't deliver, and that's a big issue with them, and they needed to get more scoring chances.
Yep, by far. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a few moments. But, of course, if you guys want to jump on the show, 929-205-6099 gets you on the air, or you can join us in the Facebook chat. We have that up and running. And, of course, drink of choice tonight, Blackbird Cider Works, one of the nice things here in Western New York. And this is actually their Estate Reserve semi-dry hard cider.
So. And I'm in the middle of the woods somewhere.
Yeah, I see that. Nice. Undisclosed location, kind of like Aaron Rodgers, which we'll talk about that in a few moments with a nice little retreat.
Yeah, we're going to get to that.
Yeah, but no, good stuff. So, of course, we're going to open it up. Good news out of the Buffalo Bills this week. And for anyone who had a chance to watch yesterday, Damar Hamlin, fully cleared. He's a comeback, which is really nice to see. He also did mention that the cause of the cardiac arrest that happened was commotio cordis, which was actually one of the things that we had talked about when the situation first happened, and something that we both ended up suspecting. And basically it's just taking a blow to the heart at the exact moment, and basically from there the only way you survive that is CPR and getting shocked. And I mean, good thing is they took care of it, and he's still here to talk about it. But glad to see he's going to make a comeback, though. And I think, just watching that conference yesterday, there's a lot of inspiration out of it. And he just wants to be back on the field. And the good thing is, he's a big part of the off-season workouts. He's taking part of it. He's doing everything he can to be ready. So, more power to him.
Absolutely. And you know what? He made a remarkable recovery when we talked about it back in January, and he's been doing a lot better since.
Yeah. So it's really cool to see things are going well with that. Now, of course, some are still speculating what's going to happen with Diggs, what's going to happen outside of that. Diggs is fine. Don't worry about it. Josh Allen got rid of the distraction of his now ex-girlfriend, so he doesn't have to worry about that anymore.
Yeah, I've heard some nasty things about that, and I don't want to make assumptions of it either, but I've heard there are some things going on with Josh in particular. I really don't know the story about him behind why they broke up.
Yeah, well, supposedly TMZ's got a story on him. He's now dating an A-lister.
An A-lister? I heard Celebrity. He had an well, that figures. I don't know. Let me guess. Is it that stupid Margot? Josh Allen is dating Margot Robbie?
Yeah, basically that's what TMZ came out with.
That's a meme.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, that's an internet meme, Tom. I think you fell for it.
Yeah, but anyways, hey, what he does is his own private business there. So that being said, glad to see Hamlin making a comeback. He's gonna be fine. And going into our next story, DeAndre Hopkins may still become a Buffalo Bill. And that's one of the things that came out this week, because big story was he said hell no to the Patriots, but he definitely has the Bills and the Chiefs as potential destinations for himself.
Yeah, but the problem is his cap hit, because the only way either the Bills or the Chiefs can get him is if he's willing to restructure his contract. And that's the only way it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And the other thing, too, I want to mention is he was being interviewed for that. I forget the guy's name. And went up to him, and he said to D-Hop, hey, I'm going to let you show your face and show your expression of teams that you would be willing to play for. He said no to the Patriots. He said no to the Jets. And then he said yes to the Bills and yes to the Chiefs. And then Von Miller came out with a statement of his own because apparently Von, the GM, is already 0 for 1 for his bullshit claims. Because remember that whole fiasco in the beginning of March where he said, "Oh, Von Miller wants to play for the Bills, and I contacted him all the time and all that bullshit." Remember that? And then he ended up going to Baltimore because people are like, "Von, we know you want to be a GM in this league, but shut the fuck up. You're not making your case any better." But anyway, so he said, in quote, he says, "Hobbs says he wants to be a Buffalo Bill." And this was Miller on his interactions with DeAndre Hopkins as they work out together at a gym in Dallas.
Anything can happen.
Well, here's my result on this situation. Until otherwise, it's just all smokescreen.
Yeah. I mean, could DeAndre Hopkins come here? Sure, it's possible. But like you said, that contract is a pretty nasty contract because here's what he's got going on. It's a 2-year deal that he signed with Arizona, $54.5 million with $27.5 million as a signing bonus. And basically altogether, at the end of his contract, he's going to be bringing in like almost $61 million.
Right, and the other issue too is that if anybody wants D-Hop, they would have to wait until after the draft because if you're trying to trade for him, the only thing you could logically do is trade back in the first round, or maybe come up with an idea of maybe trade back in the first round, give up the 27th pick to Arizona, and then another second rounder, and then you get a third, and you get D-Hop in the deal. That's what I would do.
Yeah, I mean, but even still, yes, is he a good wide receiver? Absolutely he is. Is he worth paying that much money? I mean, especially with the draft coming up. I mean, you could get easily a stud wide receiver out of the draft, and this is a good draft this year.
Yeah, but as far as wide receivers go, are any of them gonna really be flashy? Like, oh, it's like you can't miss like prospect, like a Justin Jefferson or a CeeDee Lamb kind of guy.
Well, no, we don't have that this time around. I mean, it's just the unfortunate part of this year's draft.
Right, but I think for D-Hop, because he's turning, 31, 32 at some point in the near future?
Yeah, he's going to be 31.
Okay, so he's still young enough to be, like, he's almost at that end where he's towards the end of his prime. Diggs is a year younger than Hopkins, but the point is, I mean, everybody is pointing out, D-Hop to Buffalo with Stephon Diggs would be deadly as shit. I mean, we're not taking that away because that would absolutely work in Buffalo's favor. But the problem is the cap because he's, I think, the highest paid player in the NFL that's not a quarterback.
Yeah, very much so. Although, talking about that, holy God, Jalen Hurts made payday and a big one on that fact. Like 5 years, $250 million or something?
5 years, $255 million, and $189 million guaranteed.
Ooh, man!
And guess what? He makes more money now by $1 million than Aaron Rodgers.
Jesus!
And you know what's even sweeter? Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes' contracts are outside of the top 5.
Right, which is even better. And we've got Allen locked up for a long time, so that's a big plus. So at least we did the deal when we did. Of course, we all saw what happened with Deshaun Watson basically screwing over the quarterback market. And now, of course, I gotta say, it sucks to be Lamar Jackson because now he's really like in Schitt's Creek when it comes to money.
Yeah, I heard that the Baltimore Ravens offered him $200 million, which is the closest he's gonna get to Jalen Hurts. And I'm just saying to myself, Lamar Jackson is not going to get paid more than Jalen Hurts. He's not going to get paid more than Aaron Rodgers because even Josh Allen himself said, listen, I'm getting older and I have to start thinking like a quarterback and not as a football player.
Yeah. And then Deshaun Watson definitely did not deserve the contract he got. So even outside of that, I mean, Hurts, I can understand the fact because he got to the Super Bowl and he actually played better than Mahomes, in my opinion, with the majority of the game. It just came down to a few different plays, especially that last penalty, which cost him 15 yards. But at the same time, Philly was, for the most part, controlling every part of that game. The second half is what killed him.
Yeah, and the Islanders are down 2-0 to the Hurricanes after a really odd goal from Stefan Noesen.
Oh, Jesus.
And it just remember that, like, you ever see goals where it just remember that Toscalo goal from like 15 years ago?
Yeah.
And just kept bouncing like 97 feet. Think of that from within the blue line in the Islanders zone. That's basically what just happened with Sorokin.
Oh, God.
Yeah, in a playoff game. And I'm saying to myself, fucking hell. And the Islanders are just taking too many penalties to go with this. But let's stay on track. Yeah, but let's stay on track. But I think, though, with this whole thing with D-Hop is just, it's going to be odd. I'm not going to say odd, but it's going to be very, very tough to basically take in all of the money. Because I think everybody that's involved, Kansas City, Arizona, Buffalo, I would even throw in Baltimore. Those teams are all in need of receivers. And nobody's going to be able to afford $54 million. Buffalo doesn't have the money. Kansas City doesn't have the money. Nobody has the money.
Yeah, Baltimore sure as hell can't do it now because they paid OBJ what they paid, so.
Well, I mean, unless they, like, make another big trade, then it's a big problem.
Yeah, but to give OBJ all that guaranteed money, I mean, that hurt them for at least this year.
Well, for a certain amount of time, yes. I can agree absolutely 100%. But it's going to be very, very tough how this plays out because there's been so many rumors about Aaron Rodgers. There's been so many rumors about DeAndre Hopkins. There's been so many rumors about OBJ before he went to the Ravens. It's just like it just goes on and on and on and on.
Right. And speaking about Aaron Rodgers, we'll jump into him first and then we'll hit one of the big trades that came out. But Aaron Rodgers is still a Green Bay Packer. There is still no deal with the Jets, and here we are, almost a month later or something. And it's like, and of course, Green Bay still wants the first. The Jets don't want to give Green Bay a first. Now they're making it as the closest they've come is making it a potential conditional pick. But it's like, okay, if you guys want to trade for Aaron Rodgers that bad, I mean, you got to pay to play in some cases. In Green Bay, you got to understand you may not necessarily get that higher first-round pick that you want.
Well, there's more to the story, and I actually have the stuff right here. Let me just double-check something here. Okay, so it's being said, this was reported on April 12th, which was a week ago. Yeah, exactly on Wednesday, and we never got to it because we were doing the mock draft, but it was being reported by Adam Schefter, quote, that the Packers and the Jets have not been communicating about an Aaron Rodgers trade for weeks at that time. And then now, going back to Thursday last week, Aaron Rodgers' comments have halted the trade with the Jets. When Aaron Rodgers said, "I went into the darkness 90% retiring," has scared Jets owners Woody Johnson away from spending high capital on him. The Packers and Jets had a deal in place before Rodgers' comments, but now the Jets want to add conditions for if Rodgers retires, and the Packers are willing to give them something, but not enough. And that's according to Charles Robinson of Yahoo.com. And then the icing on the cake, I have two more. The Packers are holding out for 3 draft picks, including a first-round pick in 2024 for Aaron Rodgers. And then there's one more on top of all this as well. Here's the icing on the cake. The Packers would be embarrassed, in quotation, to accept the current Jets offer, which is to be believed to be a second and a fifth. And they are crossing their fingers that a new team enters the conversation after the draft. And the only team I've heard that comes in mind are the 49ers.
Oh, my God.
What a fucking mess this is.
It is.
What? This trade should have happened a month ago.
Exactly. And they're still going at it. And San Francisco already has their guy, Brock Purdy. Why would you trade for Aaron Rodgers in this case?
Well, think of it like this. What if you trade Trey Lance?
I'm fine with that. I mean, hell, trade him to Minnesota for all I care. I mean, that could actually be a really good landing spot.
Yeah, because there's been rumors that the 49ers are taking calls about Trey Lance, although they're not looking to trade him imminently. The front runner is the Minnesota Vikings, and they're supposedly saying they're going to throw in Kirk Cousins as part of the deal that could possibly get it done. Maybe like the 23rd overall pick or something to San Francisco in a package deal or something like that. I think Cousins and a first is too much for Trey Lance. But I think even from that standpoint, you have to at least get rid of Cousins' contract because it's too big. He's entering the last year of the deal, and the 49ers, I assure you, would want to have some veteranship because they honestly don't have one outside of Darnold.
Right. That's true. And, I mean, Jimmy G is not, given that veteran-type leadership. I mean, hell, he's been out, injured half his career, so you have to figure it out.
He's not even there anymore.
Yeah, exactly, because he went to Vegas, so that's the other thing. Now, what I could potentially see San Francisco doing, and this is actually just to throw it out there, if you're looking to trade Trey Lance, you could always send him to Indianapolis. You could send him to Tampa. I mean, those two teams need QBs. Tennessee's another one. I mean, New Orleans, I think, finally has their person, but we all know what Carolina's going to do, so, I mean, that's no surprise. So, not worried about them, but...
What, with C.J. Stroud?
Oh, yeah, they're probably They're probably going to go ahead and take him.
Honestly, I don't think so at this point. I mean, 2 weeks ago, I would have said, hell yeah, they're going to get C.J. Stroud. Now, I'm not convinced. I think they're going to get Bryce Young, and I'll tell you why. Because I read a report say that Bryce Young was supposed to meet with Houston, Indianapolis, Baltimore, Atlanta, Seattle. He was supposed to meet with all those teams, and the issue was he canceled all of their trips, all the pre-visits with them. So that's an indication, in my opinion at least, that Bryce Young's going to be a Carolina Panther next Thursday.
Well, we'll see next Thursday. We'll be live for it, so...
Yeah, and then Adam's like, Bryce Young is a fucking bomb. He's a bust. I'm like, well, and then next week, if it actually does come true about the whole comment I'm making about Bryce Young, yes! Paul Mary, let's go. Lead in half, baby, let's go.
Is it 2-1?
It's 2-1, yeah. Kyle Palmieri just scored, and it's 2-1 Hurricanes with 9.5 left in the second.
Nice.
So plenty of time for a comeback. But yeah, but it would be hysterical if all the comments that Adam has been making leading up to the draft about how Bryce Young's a bum, I will laugh hysterically if he goes to the Panthers.
We'll see what happens. I mean, watch, it'll probably be like another episode of when we found out that Sam Darnold was going to the Panthers.
Oh my God. Could you imagine?
That was great watching that.
Could you imagine he actually does that again, but it's with Bryce Young?
Right?
Because he's like, no, fuck that guy. I don't want him. And yet the Panthers I'm almost convinced they're going to take him.
Yeah, it very well could happen. So, but what we'll do is we'll go into our last football story, and then, of course, we're going to switch into hockey. But, of course, anyone that's watching, if you want to call in, 929-205-6099 is the number to reach us. And, of course, we have our Facebook chat going. So, anyone is welcome to give us a shout. But the big story that happened in terms of the trade market this week, and all I got to say, good job to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Good job to the Steelers because you fucked the Rams. So Allen Robinson got traded by the Rams, and in return, Pittsburgh also got pick number 251. The Rams only got pick number 234.
Danny DeVito is here.
How's your mom doing? Good? Yep. That's a yes. Okay.
I have a better question. How'd that Met game go earlier today?
I don't know. I don't follow the cheating Mets, so
I don't follow the Dodgers. I mean, they're pretty good at choking anyway. So anyway,
I'd rather be losing 5-3 than 5-0. So shut your
yeah. Oh man. Well, we were just about to get into the Allen Robinson deal to the Steelers, and boy, the Steelers totally screwed the Rams on that one.
Yep, so it's a 2023 7th-round pick at 234 to the Rams, and the Steelers are getting Allen Robinson and pick number 251, which is a 7th-rounder in this draft as well. And the crazy part is the Rams already paid $5 million of his cap, and the Steelers are paying the next 2 years, which is an estimate of $10 million.
Well, Pittsburgh needed wide receiver help. They got wide receiver help, and the Rams got nothing.
Well, because you love Pittsburgh so much, as like the Steelers, the Penguins, and stuff like that, how do you personally feel about the trade?
If I'm looking at it from a Steelers standpoint, I'm glad I screwed the Rams over on that one because they needed wide receiver help. They don't really have the depth there. Allen Robinson, you've got a perfect wide receiver number 1 you can go to.
Well, now you have Deontay Johnson, Allen Robinson, and now you have George Pickens. So that's 3 solid wide receivers right there.
Yeah. I mean, that was a huge addition right there. I mean,
Yep.
I'm glad the Steelers did what they did. And, of course, LA, hey, you're one and done for that Super Bowl run because basically now you have, like, no team left.
Well, when you think at this point that, aren't we all kind of glad at this point the Rams did win a Super Bowl?
Well, sort of, but at least they got their one and done, so...
Well, that's what I'm saying. They got a Super Bowl ring, but it cost them their entire franchise. Jalen Ramsey, gone. Von Miller, gone. And then half of the core is gone.
Yeah. Well, here's
Taylor Rapp, gone. Their kicker, Mike Gay, or Mark Gay, or whatever the fuck Gay is, gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'd be surprised if Sean McVay gets the boot pretty soon, too.
I don't think so. I think he has way too much power on that team.
You never know, though. I mean, if they're not winning.
Well, if that were the case, Bill Belichick should have been fired 3 years ago.
Well, it's Bill Belichick. He sucks Robert Kraft's dick all day. Of course he's not going to be fired.
Well, also
He's
to be
got more
fair,
power than anyone thinks.
Well, to be fair, he's also the general manager, so he kind of runs both the front office and the coaching position. He does both. So it's almost hard to fire him, but I wouldn't be surprised if he were to retire either next year or the year after, in like 2 years from now. I would not be surprised.
No,
but
if I'm Kraft, I would just fire him anyways. I mean, if his team's not in the playoffs this year, I almost have to think that he's got to think of it as an option.
Possibly. I mean, we don't know. I mean, let's put it this way. The Rams may be shit, but they're not as shitty as the Cardinals. Think about it.
Yeah.
I mean, the Cardinals got what? Let's see. So the Cardinals have star players who won out. Budda Baker, DeAndre Hopkins.
And they won't let the trade for Budda Baker happen either.
Well, that's actually not true. Because I actually have heard that the Eagles are interested.
Man, if the Eagles get Baker, Jesus Christ.
Oh, they're winning. They're making another Super Bowl run, and they'll probably win it.
Well, here's something for you boys. The Eagles have 2 first-round picks.
I know.
Yeah, give up one of them, and you still are in good shape.
Well, put it this way. 10th overall pick for Budda Baker.
I would totally consider it.
When you get
well,
10 or 18, it doesn't matter.
Well, I mean, if you're training for a Pro Bowl safety like Budda Baker, who wants to be the highest paid safety in football, I don't necessarily blame him for wanting out of Arizona because they're a fucking dumpster fire. But if you take it into account as well, you have a quarterback who doesn't, watch film at all. You have an idiot head coach. You have a bad general manager. You have an F- franchise grade, and the owner has been accused of cheating. How do you fix all this? New uniforms, of course.
Arizona does not know how to properly run a franchise.
Honestly, I feel like there's like 10 teams in the NFL that don't know how to run their team. The Cardinals are one of them. The Raiders are another. The Rams are lurking into the shadows. I would throw in the Jets in this conversation, even though they know how to draft. The Jets don't know how to do dick. I would say
Chicago's got to probably be in there because they're constantly in the lower group.
in the last 10 years, yes, absolutely. But as of recent, I don't know. I mean, it's still early, but I mean, I would definitely say the Lions would be in that conversation. But
yeah, they started to turn around last season towards the end, so.
Yeah, and Chicago had all the money in the world, so they could do whatever they want with their assets. So really, there's a lot of shitty teams in the NFL that fit in this category, but the Cardinals have the worst one. Washington with Dan Snyder. That was horrendous.
Yeah, although Dan Snyder might finally be gone, so Washington actually has a chance.
Well, when it's all set in stone, then we'll definitely talk about them.
Atlanta.
Yeah, that's another good one right there.
Atlanta.
Jacksonville till recently.
Indianapolis.
Yeah, they could be in there. Miami until a few years ago.
Yeah, the Dolphins are a shithole, even though they've gotten better recently. Who's another bad NFL team?
Houston.
Houston. Yeah. That's another one. I already said the Rams, so I can't say the Rams again.
I wouldn't necessarily think Seattle because, I mean, even with everything that happened with getting rid of Wilson and getting the return they did, and also for the fact that Geno Smith actually showed up and showed he can be a starter, I wouldn't necessarily say they're, like that bad off.
How about Denver?
Yeah, I just said Denver.
Oh, yeah, I didn't hear that part.
Oh, yeah, the whole thing with the head coaching experiment last year.
I don't even know where to begin with that.
Nate Hackett, one and done.
Well, I mean, you can also count the Bengals minus Joe Burrow.
Right.
Because Joe Burrow has single-handedly saved their ass.
Mm-hmm.
He sucked for 17 years straight, so I'd say the Bills too.
Yeah. Oh, what about the Chargers?
Yeah, they're not special.
They all sucked until they got a quarterback that can play.
Mm-hmm. Right.
For the most part.
Right.
Yeah, for the most part.
You could even say the Patriots after Tom Brady left.
Yeah, I'll be back, boys.
So.
Okay.
All right. But every team's gonna suck ass without a good QB and without a good line.
Yeah, that's gonna happen. It's just inevitable. You don't have a good quarterback, you're not going far.
Right.
I mean, unless you have a decent quarterback with high-end players around him, then yeah, sure.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah, but the bottom line is that Arizona's just a shithole, man. I mean, Buda Baker, DeAndre Hopkins, all these guys are going to want out eventually, and the Cardinals are a mess. So, I honestly don't feel bad. I feel bad for the players that get drafted by Arizona, but I don't feel bad for the organization themselves.
No, I don't either.
And again, Philadelphia can easily throw in one of their top 2 picks in the first round in a deal for Baker. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, if they can afford it, great. But
didn't they draft what's-his-face from Notre Dame at safety too? Last year in the draft, didn't they grab that high-end safety from Notre Dame?
No, that's Kyle Hamilton. That was Baltimore.
Baltimore. I thought it was. Okay.
Well, I know what you're talking about because I projected the Eagles to take Kyle Hamilton in the first round last year with Kayvon Thibodeau. Neither one went to their respective picks where I had them because there was like Jordan Davis, and then they traded the 1 pick to Tennessee to get A.J. Brown, if you remember.
Did any of our picks last year line up at all? It was kind of
did. Mine did. Mine was Sauce Gardner at number 4 to the Jets.
Yeah, mine definitely didn't.
I don't know if mine did.
Well, I think I just watched that episode not too long ago, and I just looked back on it, and Gardner went 4th overall to the Jets, and people were like surprised at that time when I put him there, and I'm just like, watch him go to the Jets. I was way off about Jameson Williams, but I was right about the wide receiver position.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, really, the only other time that any of us hit on any of the picks in either draft was when Sean was with us on the show up until this past year, and he actually hit on Mason Appleton in the expansion draft for the Kraken.
Oh, that's right. I remember that.
That was the only other time any of us hit exactly on a pick.
See, it's so hard to predict where exactly, and that's what makes it fun, is that you make an opinion of something, and you hope in vain that it pans out for you, and most of the time, 90% of the time when we do the show, when we do predictions like this, it doesn't pan out that way. But of all the picks that are going into this draft, I am the most confident in. I'm the most confident that Will Anderson to the Cardinals at number 3 is going to be in play. I am the most confident in that pick.
Yeah, you're not confident about your good old Osiris Torrance for the Buffalo Bills?
Oh, yeah, number 27.
You're not confident at 27?
Or Zay Flowers.
That curry sounds good by now, right there, Bobby?
No, and I will tell you, actually, one of the people I work with, she actually did try to Vindaloo, and she's like, have you ever had it? And I said, yeah. She's like, that shit hurts. So,
well, like I said,
like, that's
not
a pain to another level.
Well, I should be used to it, but it's whatever. I mean,
yeah, your ass ain't gonna be used to this level of pain.
Well, I mean, I've been used to your shit for 8 years. I think I can handle Vindaloo.
I'll just tell you, it's gonna be a lot worse coming out than it is going in, man.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm probably gonna be shitting on the toilet for the next 3 hours at that point.
Yeah, you may want to tell your wife to not be home for a while after that.
Yeah.
She may not want to put up with that, and either that or make sure you have a few cans of air freshener standby.
Probably.
Yep. But
Don't forget to call off work next Friday.
yeah, exactly. Well, they'll be May 5th. We actually, or no, it's like the show after the draft. We do that. So.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, that being said, we're at the half hour, so we'll be right back. We'll come back with hockey. Welcome to Buffalo After Dark, everybody. It's your Wednesday night uncensored, unfiltered, and unafraid sports show. You still up? This episode of Buffalo After Dark starts now. Hey guys, welcome back to Buffalo After Dark. It is the second half of the show. Of course, you got Bob and Mr. Danny DeVito here, aka Andy. So let's get right into hockey, and then obviously if you want to call us 929-205-6099, we'll get you on the air. First thing we'll talk about, we're going to go into the NHL playoffs in just a moment, and we'll do some playoff brackets, but the NHL is thinking the third time is a charm in Atlanta because basically what has come out, they are looking at a potential hockey development about 30 miles outside of Atlanta. It'd be a $2 billion arena and sports complex, and with the thought of it is to potentially get an NHL team like the Thrashers back into Atlanta. I mean, I don't know what to think about it. I mean, it's failed twice. I mean, Atlanta's last ownership group ended up taking the Thrashers to Winnipeg, so which I was glad to see Winnipeg get a team back after the original Winnipeg Jets went to Arizona.
Andy, you want to go first on this one?
Sure, I'll go first. What the fuck?
That was my
Are
first
these
thought.
people thinking that this is going to work for a third time? I don't care if it's 30 miles east, west, south, north from Atlanta. It's not going to work. People aren't interested in hockey in Georgia. It's just not going to happen consistently. I don't even know how it lasts as long as it did last time.
Yeah, I mean, first you had the Atlanta Flames, which is now the Calgary Flames. Then you had the Atlanta Thrashers, which is now the Winnipeg Jets. I mean,
it's just not a hockey market.
It's not.
I don't understand
It may not be a hockey town, but the people who ran the Thrashers, Atlanta Spirits, didn't give two fucks about them. And they were a part of, it was like, if you ever watched the Urinating Tree video on the Atlanta Thrashers, he even said this was all on Atlanta Spirit for not providing the proper tools to succeed, because they only cared more about the Hawks than they cared about the Thrashers. So the only way I think Atlanta in hockey works is if there's a stable group of ownership or an ownership that could be available in that city that would be willing to say, hey, I want to invest my money on this team.
You can't tell me that this is going to work. You can't. I mean,
I don't see it working.
That city is a basketball and football town. It's not hockey. It's just not.
It's also a huge baseball town. That's for sure.
Baseball too. I mean, they got their sports there. Hockey they're just not interested in it. They're just not.
Right.
I don't know if it's people just don't know the game or don't care to know the game, but I don't know how you're going to sell that again. I mean, really, I don't know what was it. Kevin Weeks that? Yeah, it was Kevin Weeks that is.
Yeah, because Kevin Weeks was the one that said, and he said it, quote, that the city of Atlanta has plans for an arena development project that's large enough to house an NHL team.
Well, they have.
Does he want that team?
Yeah, I was gonna say they have State Farm Arena. They just spent like almost $400 million redoing that building.
State Farm Arena? I thought it was called Phillips Arena.
No, they renamed it. Like once they finished the renovation project, Phillips bowed out of the naming rights. Now it's State Farm Arena. I mean, they totally like demolished like 90% of the damn inside of that place, and it's totally different now than what it used to be.
With the Thrashers and the Hawks and all that stuff.
Yeah.
See, like, here's my thinking.
And that's an NHL-ready building, too. It's like, why the hell would you want another arena complex? I mean, shit, they didn't even want to move the Braves out of Atlanta, but then the Braves knew that Turner Field wasn't going to be good long-term, so they now moved to Truist Park, which is out in the suburbs.
Well, yeah, that too. And they also made a lot of money when they won the World Series a few years ago.
Right. Well, the thing that the Braves were smart in doing is that they built up everything right around that stadium, so at least they've got, like, stuff everywhere now, but still, I'm like, it's like, do you need another arena that's going to probably lose a team in 10 years? I mean, come on.
Well, I mean, yeah! There we go!
Damn it, fuckers.
Let's go! Adam Pellick.
Fuck out of here.
Fuck you, Andy. That's Barzell, baby. Let's go! Tie game with 20 seconds left in the second. Woo! There we go.
Look,
I got
yeah,
my
like
Fisherman jersey on.
Nice wrist shot, not gonna lie.
Yeah. Beautiful wrister. Boom!
But,
Big pass Ranta.
Yeah.
Still good stuff.
Yeah. But even still, it's like, with hockey in Atlanta, it didn't work the first 2 times. What's going to make it work the 3rd time? I mean, they couldn't even get people in the second time when they had the Thrashers.
Well, again, like I said, I think it really comes down to ownership, because you're not going to just say, let's put an expansion team in another city that no one cares about and just expect it to grow on trees. You need a decent, balanced ownership, and you have to have good revenue and sales and stuff like that. You have to advertise the team in order to succeed in the NHL. And plus, at this day and age where the league stands in terms of cap, it's almost impossible to relocate them at this point.
You'd have to get a real good selling point. You'd have to have draft like a Connor Bedard to keep, even if fans aren't even totally interested. I mean, you got to get a star in there immediately to keep things going for quite some time.
You'd have to have like a McJesus in there for starters.
Well, that too, but I would say, what about the possibility of the Coyotes? Because think about what's happening in Tempe, because the city council basically said no, and they're going to be voting on the new building that supposedly Gary Bettman wants to put in there for 30-plus years. And the city of Tempe has no desire to keep the team in Arizona, because it's already looking like that for them anyway. So what if, for some reason, the Coyotes are rejected no as far as being told, hey, we don't want you in Arizona anymore. You're worthless. You have no income. You have no revenue whatsoever. Why don't we just sell you off to someone else? Kind of like what happened with the Thrashers when True North Sports bought the Thrashers and then became the Winnipeg Jets. It could very well be the case. Like, why don't the Coyotes get sold to another group of investors in Atlanta instead of an expansion team and relocate them to Atlanta? I mean, it's right there.
Screw Atlanta. What I would do if I were to keep the Coyotes out west, I would either move them to Portland, where they have an NHL-ready building, and that would give a really, really good rivalry against Seattle, because those two cities are only a few hours apart. So you'd have a rivalry against Seattle, you'd have a rivalry against Anaheim and LA and Vegas, so you'd have all that going on. Or move them to Salt Lake City. They have an NHL-ready building with the Vivint Arena. And those are 2 good hockey markets.
Or move them to the Toyota Center in Houston, because the owner of the Rockets, I forget his name, has interest in bringing an NHL. Okay, well, if you want an NHL team in Houston, put it in bid for the Coyotes.
But then to keep the conferences like all with, well, right now every conference is, every division has 8 teams, so you'd almost have to relocate 1 and add 3 more teams potentially if you're going to keep everything equal. So it's almost like if you. Like, the way I kind of look at that whole situation is, if you're going to move Arizona, let's say you put them in Salt Lake City or you put them in Portland. I mean, if you put them in Portland, you have 9 teams in the Pacific Division. If you put them in Salt Lake City, you almost have 9 teams in the Central Division out there. And then this way you still have everything aligned in the Western Conference. Then what I would do in the East is, I mean, you could also look at potentially adding a team in Quebec City, which I would love to see the rivalry with the Nordiques and the Habs go again. And then, I mean, you could potentially look at a team like Kansas City has an NHL ready building. I mean, there's some other cities out east that you could do that, but I just don't see Atlanta being a hockey market. I just don't see it being the case.
I don't either. What do you think, Andy?
That it really is one of the last markets I would think of trying to put a hockey team in. It is just not. I don't know why or where or how these people think it's going to work. I just don't. I mean, when I first caught wind of it, I said, "Are really going to try there again?" I mean, how many times are you going to go at this? You're not going to be able to keep a team in that city or state because the interest isn't all that much. I don't know why they think like it. Just a group of hundreds of thousands of people just sprouted up in Georgia that started liking hockey. Like, I don't know where they get this idea.
Yeah.
Well, I think in Arizona's defense, we would not have without the Coyotes. There would be no Austin Matthews.
Well, you can say all that. You can
or Tate Thompson for that matter.
Yeah, I get it. There's players that move around.
Yeah, there's players out there.
Yeah,
I mean, sure. But I mean, you're trying to grow the game in a city where it's failed twice.
Mm-hmm.
So where are you getting this mindset of thinking it's going to work again?
Well,
like,
yeah.
I don't care. I keep those Coyotes in fucking Arizona. I don't care about that. It's this whole idea of putting it back in a market where it really doesn't deserve to be a market is beyond me. Like Tom said, I'd rather Quebec get a team.
Yeah.
You know,
team has an NHL ready building that's new. I mean, and they sell out almost 19,000 plus every single night for the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League. They love their hockey up there.
Well, yeah, it's a big hockey market, period.
Right, exactly. They deserve a team more than Arizona does.
I don't know why more hockey teams there's not more hockey teams in Canada in the National Hockey League. It's kind of befuddled me a little bit.
Right.
I mean,
yeah.
I mean, my wife likes to use the word confuzzled a lot as a way of saying I am confused by everything that's being said about Atlanta. It's like, why is Gary Bettman entertaining the idea of potentially putting a third team in Atlanta in a market that has clearly not worked out? And I understand the first time the Flames were just horrendous and they moved to Calgary, but the second time the city of Atlanta got fucked over with a team by Atlanta Spirit. So if you take that company out of the picture, I think the city of Atlanta would thrive with whoever comes up, whether it's renaming it with the Thrashers or another team, because you can't use the Flames because you have them in Calgary already. But what if you were to bring back the Thrashers and all of a sudden you have a decent fan base? I mean, look at the Jets. I know it's been like 15 years at that point since they were waiting on a team, but it's like you have Winnipeg is a hockey market. Atlanta is not. So for them to get the team back was pure luck. But the same could happen here. With the Coyotes, you can move them to Atlanta or you can move them to Houston or Quebec City. There's a lot of options. But the only thing that I don't agree with is the actual idea of them actually going with an expansion team. Like Seattle would work. Vegas was a big clusterfuck to begin with. But to be fair, the Knights have been consistently good since they've been in the league. So you can easily rub off Vegas.
Well, that's one thing when you're trying a new city, new state. Off the hop. It's another when it's a third time around.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And I understand that. But I just think it's very stubborn. Like, it's very stubborn of Bettman to go back to a city that was rejected of a team twice. Like, that's the part I don't understand.
Right.
That's why I said.
Yeah, and even before with Atlanta's ownership, I mean, even before all the ownership issues, they still weren't selling out consistently. So, I mean, I just don't see a team working there again. I just don't. I'd almost rather see Portland or Seattle or Quebec get a team first. Not Seattle. I mean,
I was gonna say Seattle has a team. What are you talking about?
Right. No, I mean Portland or Quebec City. Basically, I'd rather see them get teams first.
I mean, go back and see some video of when the Thrashers made the playoffs. That building even sold out. I know they made the playoffs at least once when they were there. I remember it.
Yeah, and
Yeah, they got
nobody
swept by the
there.
Rangers.
Jitnik was on that fucking team.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I think.
I gotta
Yeah.
check. The
Yeah, I think it was like Zach Bogosian. Oh no, Bogosian wasn't in the league yet. I think it was like Ilya Kovalchuk, Danny
Yeah.
Heat. Oh no, not Danny
Eric
Heatley.
Bolton was down there for the longest time.
Yeah, Eric Bolton was there. Marian Hossa was there. Kari Lettinen was there. Who else was down there at that time? Help me out here, guys. Who was also on Atlanta? On the 2007 Atlanta Thrashers when they went to the playoffs.
That's when they went.
I think Garnet Exelby was on that team.
So here, let's go over like some of the players that they had. So they had Marian Hossa, Slava Kozlov, Ilya Kovalchuk, yep, Scott Mellenby, Jonathan Sim, Bobby Holik. They had Greg DeVries, Steve Ruchin, Nicholas Hevelid, Steve McCarthy, Andy Sutton, Keith Kachuk, Eric Bellinger, Jitnik, Brad Larson, Nico Kapanen, Vitaly Vishnevsky, Bolton, Pascal Dupuis, which he spent a lot of time in the league. Let's see, Jason Krug, Braden Coburn, Mark Popovich, Kari Lettinen, Derek McKenzie, Darren Hadar. So those are some of the notables on there.
Yeah, so, I mean, of all the players on that team, Ilya Kovalchuk and Marian Hossa were probably the two most famous players on the Thrashers, outside of Kari Lettinen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'd even throw Kachuk in there.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about Keith Kachuk.
Yeah, Keith Kachuk.
I forgot about him.
Yeah, so, I mean, I'd throw him in there also, but...
He must have been traded at the deadline with Jitnik or something because they both played only 18 games.
Yeah, it wasn't much at all.
Yeah, I remember when Maxim Finiganov was on the Thrashers?
Mm-hmm.
That was a weird... Like, that's what I never understood. Why did he not sign with the Sabres and went to Atlanta? That's what I don't understand.
Interesting. Hossa had 100 points in 2007. Kozlov had 80. Kovalchuk had 76. And then there was a major drop-off after Kovalchuk.
Yeah.
Major drop-off.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, Kari Lettinen played very well. He had a .912 save percentage, a 34-24-9 record, 2.79 goals against. I mean, that's not bad.
Oh, he was playing well. He was holding that team in there.
Damn.
It's going to be interesting. So, bottom line is Atlanta's not going to work.
No, I doubt it. But what we'll do is, since we only have about 15 minutes left, I know we want to cover some cup prediction brackets, but let's get right into the playoffs real quick because it's been an interesting opening to the first round. And I will say this, the Kraken and Avalanche first game, and sorry, Andy, I know you love the Avalanche, but the Kraken just punched you guys in the mouth last night.
Yeah, okay, game one. So what?
Right.
You lost to a fucking expansion team.
I mean, yeah, they were an expansion team last year. They're not this year.
But that doesn't matter. They're still relative. They're not even 5 years old yet.
Yeah, all right. And the fucking Golden Knights went to the Cup in their first fucking year. So, I mean,
Yeah,
shit happened.
They're only in year 6. So.
Yeah, but at this
Okay.
point, after a decade, you're not really an expansion team anymore.
One game, we're all going crazy here. Calm down. The Avalanche will get their shit straight.
Yeah,
I mean,
they'll be fine. McKinnon will bounce back.
I mean, the Seattle Kraken, I mean, they are a tough team. I'm not going to lie. They are. Every time they play the Sabres get annihilated by them. Like
I mean, the Kraken was just shutting them straight down yesterday defensively, too. I was like, watching, I was like, holy Jesus, they're not even getting any offensive chances half the time.
As much as I get mad at seeing new teams make the goddamn playoffs and the Sabres do not, I mean, I tip my hat to them, but my God, they can be frustrating to watch a team like the Kraken.
Right.
Especially if you're a Sabres fan. I mean, seriously, the second year in and you're in the playoffs, Vegas, I mean, what's the fucking trend here? It's ridiculous.
Yeah, seriously. And then I was thinking about that goal from Morgan Geekie. I was like, holy Jesus, it goes right off the skate.
I didn't watch the whole thing.
Take that bounce.
Fired from work.
Yeah, but then of course there was that game with Winnipeg and Vegas, and that was a bloodbath. And basically anyone who ended up seeing that, Morgan Barron ended up getting a skate right above the eyelid and took 75 stitches and still came back and finished the game.
Yeah, you want to talk about bloodbath? How about that Tampa-Toronto game last night?
I've never seen so much shit in my life.
Oh god, did you see the Toronto fans putting paper bags over their face like partway through the first period?
You know what? I hope they do that.
Embarrassment.
I'm telling you right now. I am telling y'all right now. If Tampa Bay takes one more win in Toronto within the first 2-3 games,
they take the series.
They take the series and it's over. And they have all the Lightning have to do is win one game in Tampa Bay and then win the next one in Toronto. If they do that, if they're capable, which they're definitely capable of doing it, but if they play like they did in week 1, because it feels like to me that the Lightning have figured out the Leaf system in that one game alone, and it's causing so much pessimism in Toronto. It's like ridiculous with how everything is high and flying with them right now, and they know the pressure is on them if they don't get past the first round. Kyle Dubas is going to Pittsburgh, then they're going to blow up the core, and they're going to hire somebody else. Watch.
And it'll be another one and done for them. And I mean, it's like, Toronto, what else do you need here? I mean,
but the writing's been on the wall since January. You've known you've been going to be playing this team since fucking January.
Right. And Toronto always plays like ass against Tampa half the time.
Should have been ready to play against them. There's no fucking excuses for that.
No, there really isn't.
Yeah, literally, to get blown out 7-3? I mean, come on.
People are already leaving at 3-0 after the first.
Yeah.
Like, you fucking... I mean, I love to see it, but I mean... I want them to blow up. I want them to blow up fucking bad.
Oh, man.
Like, it's still...
I was going to say, Adam was having a panic attack in the chat yesterday.
Yeah, he's playing. I love Adam, but he was playing it off like everything's okay. Like, it's not okay.
No, not when Toronto played like that. It's really not okay.
Yeah, and in the middle of the conversation, I'm like, welcome to hell.
Yep.
You see people in that arena leaving. You see people outside going, having that what the fuck face. Mm-hmm. Not again. Here we go.
Yeah.
I mean,
yep.
I'm going to call it. I think it's Toronto. Toronto loses in 6.
Well, if it makes you feel better, look at the garbage that's thrown on the ice in the LA Edmonton game in Game 1. Holy shit!
That was an interesting game.
Yeah, I can't wait to watch it tonight.
Edmonton has much higher expectations right now to win a cup than Toronto, and even by both standards, they're both going to choke. Edmonton is only with McDavid and Draisaitl. Without those two, Edmonton would be nowhere near close to the playoffs. And Toronto is a choke job waiting to happen. It's just, it's going to happen at some point. I mean, even if they get past the first round against like Tampa Bay, God forbid, and they play Boston, there's a very good chance that Toronto is one and done. And then the narrative will still be, oh, we can't get past the Bruins.
Mm-hmm. Well, like I said, you can have Jesus and Draisaitl on your team all you want. A great Nugent Hopkins, a Kane, a Hyman. They don't have goaltending. Right. They don't have it. They thought they got it when they traded for Campbell. Campbell's been shit all fucking year. Mm-hmm. And you're going to go with Stuart Skinner? Okay. But, he's like another UPL. You got to score 4 or 5 goals to win a game.
Yeah.
So, they're I don't know if they're going to pull it off against LA. LA's got just about the same kind of firepower with better goaltending.
Yeah.
I'm not sold on Edmonton, honestly. I'm not even sold on Toronto, if I'm being completely honest.
I'm never sold on Toronto.
Why should we?
Well, right. Yeah, they're one and done. They're like the poster child for that.
And you know what? I'm not sold on the New York Rangers either.
Yeah,
I'm not sold on the Rangers because they do this shit every year, and I've been watching this team for almost 20 years pull this shit. They traded my first rounders for aging superstars in their 30s, and they disappear in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, you've had great goaltenders in the past. You had Mike Richter, you have had Henrik Lundqvist, Igor Shesterkin. All three of them are phenomenal. But the goaltending can only take you so far, and the Rangers are ride or die with Igor, and that's a fact.
Yeah, that's fine. I would want a Vezina Trophy winning goaltender myself, but I mean, who knows if he's going to be able to take them all the way? I don't know. I think their defense is somewhat of a liability, but I mean, they got a good top six. Well, actually, you know what? I guess you could say they have a good top nine. I guess that young kids line is a little bit better than they were last year, but the Sabres can beat them. I mean, I don't know. They're on and off for me.
Yeah, the Rangers, for me, there's only 2-star defensemen on that team. Is Adam Fox, who's a fucking beast. He's from Jericho, by the way, Long Island boy. And K'Andre Miller. That's another solid defenseman that the Rangers have. Those are 2 top pairing defensemen right there that the Rangers have. So, again, it's always like they could put as much talent on there as one. You could put on Patrick Kane. You could put on Connor McDavid on the New York Rangers, and they'll still choke in the playoffs. That's just me personally.
Yep. Oh, no, I got you. But yeah, it'll be fun to watch the rest of it. But since we only have about 5 minutes left, let's do some quick cup brackets because I know you were looking into doing that. So
yes,
basically with what we've got up here, I'll just kind of go through it real quick. And Andy, I'll give you the honors. Let's start with the East first. Okay. Boston versus Florida.
Boston in... I don't know why I'm being this generous, but Boston in 6.
Okay. And then, of course, I already know you're taking Tampa against the Leafs.
Yeah.
Tampa in 6 or 7, whichever.
Then we have Carolina and the Islanders.
Carolina in... I think they'll steal one at some point, probably 6.
Okay. And then, last but not least, Jersey and the Rangers.
You know what? I think they're evenly matched, to be honest with you. I just don't know why Jersey had a bit of a dud in their last game. I think Shesterkin kind of overall wins it, but I think it actually might go to 7 to me. I don't know. It seems like a back and forth series.
All right, cool. And then out west, you've got the Avalanche versus the Kraken, which I know you want the Avalanche. So,
yep, in 6.
Yep. And then Dallas and the Wild. That was an interesting first game.
Yeah, that was. I can't wait. That's going to be. I don't know which one I want to watch more tonight. That game or L.A. and Edmonton.
That was straight up physicality in that first game.
I don't know. It's just too much green for me. I don't know. I get lost sometimes. To me, I would like to see that go to 7, but I think with my gut, as much as I hate to say it. As much as I like 2 players on each team, I love Robertson and I love Kaprizov. I love Jake Ottinger. I actually would like to see. I'd actually like to see Dallas in 6 or 7.
Okay. And then we've got Vegas and Winnipeg.
Fuck Vegas. Winnipeg in 6.
All right. And then last but not least, Oilers and the Kings.
I don't we were just talking. I don't see. I see Edmonton making it a series, but I just don't think they could pull it out with Skinner. I just don't like. I know Mike Smith tried and did very well last year, but there's no Mike Smith there unless Jack Campbell comes in and totally fucking busts it wide open. I say L.A. in 7.
All right, cool. All right, so now that you got your first round all set, Bobby, same thing for you, Bruins and the Panthers.
All right, I'm going to make this quick. I'm going to say the Bruins in 5, right?
Okay.
I'm taking the Bruins in 5, and I'm going to take the Lightning in 7 over the Leafs. And Islanders Hurricanes, I'm going to take the Islanders in 7, and then I'm going to take the Devils over the Rangers in 6.
Okay. And then out west, Avalanche and Seattle.
What did I say? I said Colorado in 6.
Okay.
And then I said Minnesota in 7 in double overtime. And out west, I said Vegas in 6. And then And then I said Edmonton in 5 over the LA Kings.
Ooh. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll see about that one. So for my picks, I'm going to take Boston in 6. I will take. I'll even go one further. I'm going to say the Leafs will lose in 5.
Ooh,
I'm thinking the Lightning's just going to whoop their ass from.
That's bold, man. That is
from start to
so
finish.
bold of you. If they do that, I will give you $100.
All right, deal.
Oh, okay.
Then what we'll do is, and then the Islanders and Carolina. I'm gonna, as much as I do like watching the Islanders, I will say Carolina in 7. Jersey, I want to see win in 6. Then out west, I'm gonna make another bold prediction. I'm gonna say the Kraken in 7.
Ooh, okay.
And I've liked a lot of what I've seen from them all season. Avalanche has a good team too, but the thing is, with Landeskog being hurt, that does hurt them a little bit. McKinnon got shut down last night, and Seattle's just been a pain in the ass to play all year, no matter who goes against them. I will also say with Dallas and Minnesota, I'm gonna, as much as I don't like the Stars, I'm gonna take them in 7. Fuck Vegas, Winnipeg in 6, and I'm also going to take the Kings in 6 because it's just the Oilers have no goaltending, and they can't just rely on McJesus and Draisaitl alone.
That's what kills them every year.
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of how I look at that whole situation. But I definitely will say that
it kills them every year, Bobby. But you told them they were going to win in fucking 5. Get out of here.
Yeah.
What, with Vegas?
No, you said the Oilers in 5.
Yeah, okay. I've seen crazier shit.
Okay.
Right. I mean, we're more likely to see the Lightning take Toronto in 5 over the Oilers. But
And the Marchand just scored. It's 1-1.
Ooh,
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, got that game on. That was a nice goal.
Well, I'm going back and forth between this and the Islander game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shots are 22-18 in favor of Carolina.
I mean, what do you mean? There's so many former Sabres on both teams. What are you gonna do?
I know.
Well, I just look at it from a team perspective. I don't look at it from a former player's perspective.
Right.
Oh, I do. Well, I do because it's nice. It's crazy to see who does better. Ullmark, Montour, Reinhart, Colin Miller in Dallas, Michael in Vegas. Yeah. Will Borgen in Seattle.
Yeah, Kane out in Edmonton.
Reinhardt and Montour in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Who else is a former Sabre on another team?
As I said, Blackhawks have...
Oh, I know one. Hudson Fasching on the Islanders.
Yeah, fuck him.
Yeah. Anyway, let's get back to the bracket. So... Where are we up to? The semifinals? Or Eastern Conference semis?
I was saying, we're just doing like round 1 for right now.
Oh, really? Because I was going to give you my finals prediction.
No, fuck your finals prediction. We're not that far.
Let's wait till we get through round 1, then we'll go into the semis.
That's so stupid. Might as well just have fun with it.
That's stupid.
Right.
That's so stupid.
Fine. You know what? I'll do it like this. I'm taking the Devils over the Knights in 7 games.
Okay, thanks for your NHL ESPN bracket, Bobby. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Here we're only doing
man.
I'm probably going to be wrong, though. But I'm taking the Devils over the Knights.
Yeah.
So that's why we're keeping round 1 right now.
Yeah. But even
we don't want you to look too stupid.
Yeah. Just wait until we have the draft show next week, and basically Bobby loses at 27.
Well, you know what's funny? If they trade down in the draft, then what? We both still eat?
No. Because you see who you get when wherever they pick next.
Right. It'd almost be a wash at that point.
Well, because there's a possibility the Bills might trade back down in the draft.
Yeah, and I heard that there's rumors that they're going to trade up. So who knows? I mean...
Yeah, it's gone both ways.
Well, we'll have to find out next week.
Yep.
Yeah, we will. When you lose, you have to eat it anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yep. But what we'll do, since we're at the top of the hour, anything that anyone wants to add before we get off for the night?
No, I'm good.
Did you guys watch any of the interviews with Granado and Adams yet?
Well, I saw that reporter John Warrow is a fucking dumbass.
Oh man, did he started with Granado with that question, and Granado was like talking to him for like a good 5-6 minutes about his, because he had like one specific question, but like little parts of questions within a question, and you could tell it was kind of eating at Donnie, but he kept it professional. But when he gave Adams that same question,
Adams just let loose.
he's like, you have to fucking say that again. He's like, do you want me to sit here and make predictions for next year and guarantees? He's like, are you fucking nuts right now?
Right. You don't even know who the hell's going to be here next year already.
I'm like,
and then it's so early in the offseason, and there's even people that have the audacity to say, "Oh, Darlene is leaving Buffalo. We're not good." He's not leaving. He's an RFA. The only way he gets out is if he says, "I'm not signing. Trade me." That's the only way he gets out.
It's not happening.
Exactly, and he ain't going anywhere. So, yeah, Warrow's a dumbass. He's been for a long time.
No, I mean, I don't know. I've been a fan of Warrow. He has some pretty good questions mostly, but this one he went too far with it. It's like you're really trying to get a rise out of both of these guys. Oh, because they missed the opportunity in the playoffs, bro. Nobody thought
they weren't even
this
projected to be in the playoffs, and they were out by 1 point. I mean, that's like the best they've done in like over 10 years.
It wasn't a missed opportunity. I guess it depends on your perspective. They had losing streaks in November and in March.
Right, and that hurt them.
They also had, it went down to the wire. If the Sabres would have beat, Florida.
Yeah, then they would have been fine. Or if they would have beaten Jersey, same thing.
Shoulda, coulda, woulda. The off the knee from Hudson Fasching to win it, 3-2 for the. You can pinpoint it anywhere you want, but you know what?
Exactly. But what happened. But at least out of it, we have a good young core. We know Levi's going to be the man, between the pipes. So we've got a goaltender now. Now we just build off of it. And the first thing we'd have to fix really is just the defensive pairings, which I'm sure we can do. We'll be in good shape.
It'll be fine. All they got to do is just address their needs in the offseason. Yeah. Once they figure out who's staying, who's going, and then they'll start from scratch, and then that's when they'll start developing. And some people have already told me the Sabres are going to make the playoffs next year. I'm like, well, first let them get what they need, and then we'll discuss playoffs.
Yeah, but I think they have a very good opportunity now because that team's going to be hungry, and plus having that additional year of experience, that's going to be a big thing for them. And they know they can beat good teams, so that's another good thing that they have for them. So now it's just one of those things. You have that additional experience. You know you can hang with the big dogs. Now you just got to go out there, be consistent. Don't run into these extended losing streaks like what we saw twice this year, but we know we can play against anybody, so, there's a good future here ahead. It's not like what we saw, a few years ago where everything was just totally to the point where nobody wanted to watch because the team was that uninteresting.
It says a lot with those 2 losing streaks, and you were still only a win away.
Yeah.
It says volumes. So, they got to make the necessary tweaks that I hope they make in this offseason and see where it goes.
Yeah.
Damn, 2-1 Florida.
I will say this, though. At least we're not the Pittsburgh Penguins after they fired Ron Hextall and their pretty much their entire front office. So.
How about this? At least we're not the Calgary Flames who have a mediocre system with Daryl Sutter that hasn't worked in 20 years, and they have a bunch of superstars, and they still couldn't make the playoffs.
Yeah, very true. Very true.
There's a lot of teams that are going to be aging out soon. Mm-hmm. This is, to me, honestly, how good is Boston going to be once Bergeron leaves? I know they got Pasta, but Krejci's not going to be around much longer.
Right.
They're going to have to fill in some holes. Hopefully, their defensive core is top notch. I'm not going to deny it.
Solid.
It's solid. So who knows how they hang around Pittsburgh? Are they going to blow it up? Does Crosby say, "Well, looks like we're done here"?
Yeah.
Maybe he can.
Or do they get rid of Malkin or some of their other players? Who knows?
Does Crosby take a trip out to Colorado and go play with his best friend, Nate McKinnon? Who knows?
Yeah, anything can happen. anything can happen. Same thing, Jonathan Tames. He ain't coming back to the Blackhawks, so he can go anywhere he wants now.
There's a lot of teams that are fizzling out. Washington, they're fizzling out. Well, we'll see.
Yeah, very true.
Tampa's going to be on their last leg soon.
Yeah, they're not getting any younger, so.
Yeah! There we go. It's 3-2 Islanders. Brock Nelson, baby. Let's go. Don't sleep on the Islanders, boys. Don't sleep on the Islanders.
Somebody punch Brock Wilson in the jaw.
Well, suck my dick, Andy. How about that?
Gotta find it first.
Well, what we'll do, we'll call it another week. Of course, we'll be back on 2 nights next week. So we've got our regular show Wednesday night. We're going to have the draft on Thursday, which will be here for the entire first round, which will be pretty sweet. And, of course, to our friend Sophia back home, we love you. You know, hang in there. You're going to be fine. And we'll talk to you all soon. So with that being said, take care of yourselves and each other. We'll see you next time.
Peace.